Oh, yeah. What is going on, boys and girls? It's the Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael. Lee Sanders here of the RCWR show, coming at you all with a special edition live right now as we're doing a special simulcast on YouTube and on Spreaker.com covering WWE Elimination Chamber 2017 Fallout. As always, when we do these after shows for you guys, love to get you all involved. So if you're checking this out on YouTube, yes, I'm looking at the chat. Feel free to pop your head in there. Let me know what you had thought, honestly, about tonight's Elimination Chamber. If you're accessing this via Spreaker, because I know there's always a good amount of you guys that check it out that way as well, be it live or however you're checking this out. You could be checking it out on the downloads on demand. I do appreciate the love and the support as always. And right at the very beginning, I got to mention, make sure you show the proper love, whether it's on YouTube or on Spreaker. You give me that thumbs up or you click on that little heart like icon, share throughout social media. It's how you can really help out, spread a good word about our content that we pump out for you guys on a weekly basis, man. So I got to tell you off the break, man. Overall, I thought just the finish alone, can we address the elephant in the room? I mean, I know you all like for me to go a little bit in the particular order from the top way down to the bottom, but I just got to say, to see that moment at the very end of the Elimination Chamber with my man Bray Wyatt. Look, I told you guys off and on for the past couple of years. I said it in 2015, and longtime listeners can back me up on this. I went on record saying that I felt in my heart of hearts that before 2016 was over and done with, Bray Wyatt was going to become a WWE champion. Then when it did not happen, I had those asking, well, Lee, at this point, do you even think Bray Wyatt will ever become a WWE champion? At which I said, yes, he will become a WWE champion. Whether it's going to be a Universal champion or he's going to hold the actual WWE title, that remains to be seen, but he will be holding on to a WWE title. I then was pressed and asked, well, do you think it's going to happen before 2017 ends? At which I said, yes, I honestly feel that before 2017, yes, because now you've got the whole brand split. Now more than ever is the time where you can experiment and test the waters, go into uncharted territory that you normally wouldn't go through otherwise. And a guy like Bray Wyatt, as possibly a WWE champion, that is a route that you could honestly take and see what happens, quite honestly. So to just kick back and see that awesome moment with Bray Wyatt as the new WWE champion, I mean, he is holding on to the belt. You trace the roots of all the men that have held that belt. That belt has gone through a few different names over the years, over the past couple of decades, but you can definitely take that belt, look at its history, trace it all the way back to the very beginning. That is the title. That is the official WWE strap. It's an awesome feeling. It is a awesome feeling. We're going to talk all about it, man. You know how we do it here, but damn, great freaking moment. And I mean, especially when you just go back to his Husky Harris days in NXT. You know, or correction, Nexus. You know, let's really be technical here. In the Nexus days when he was Husky Harris, and you're looking at him and you're like, yeah, he looks good for a big guy, but I don't know. I don't really see anything in him. And then for him to just go on this interesting metamorphosis to where he is now, I tell you, it's just a very interesting story when you really kick back and you really marinate on it for a few ticks, because we saw this guy as Husky Harris back in 2010. Then he had returned to FCW about a year later. And then, next thing you know, he pops up and he's doing the whole Bray Wyatt thing. I mean, very first time we saw him as the Bray Wyatt character, we kind of was like, isn't he borrowing the Robert De Niro character from Cape Fear? What's going on right here? But I tell you, it's just been an interesting journey that the guy has been on. We'll talk all about it, man. So let's go ahead. Let's jump right into it. So as always, we got to address a couple of elephants in the room right now. One of them I want to talk about just for a quick few minutes. I want to talk about this Elimination Chamber kickoff, the pre-show. I got to tell you, as long as I have been checking out the WWE pre-shows, and I have a pretty good track record for the most part, I've checked out all of them. As far as I know, it's a possibility, a slight possibility, I maybe have missed one since WWE has been rolling these out, but I doubt I missed any. This pre-show that we got had to have been the weakest pre-show that I have ever seen. And I was paying attention to some of the feed activities that was going on. I was actually visiting a couple of wrestling forums, whether it's on Facebook or Reddit or whatever, and I was just interacting with a few people, and it was just pretty unanimous how like everybody was going, ah man, something about this pre-show is rather off. The energy, it just really isn't. If you ask me for my 2 cents from a distance, what did I make of tonight's pre-show? Which, by the way, our panel, it was Renee Young, Booker T, Sam Roberts, and we had Carmella for the first half of the 1 hour pre-show. I got to tell you, that first half hour was excruciating to go through. I mean, for me personally, if you ask me why I like to check out the pre-show, I like checking out the pre-show because I like seeing the previews, the nice build-ups leading into the matches. You know, it's like the calm before the storm, basically, is why I like to check it out. Not to mention, you get a bonus match here and there. I really didn't care about the pre-show match we got tonight between Kurt Hawkins and who was the other guy, Mojo Rawley, of which Mojo Rawley picked up the win. It was it was mediocre. It wasn't even an average. I dare not even want to call it an average match. It was more so just a tad smidget of a mediocre match. I personally didn't care too much for it. But the pre-show panel itself, the chemistry just really was not there. Sam Roberts, look, I've got nothing personal against Sam Roberts. Sam Roberts has been doing his thing for many years now. He's got the Sirius radio station thing going on, everything like that. I'm not saying this to be sounding disrespectful, so Sam Roberts fans, do not take this personal. This is just my 2 cents from a distance, but this was really officially my first time, because I know Sam Roberts had hosted another WWE pre-show a couple of months back, and I'm pretty sure that's actually the one that I did not get the chance to see. Now that my mind is starting to jog back, memory and all, that's the one I missed, was when he popped up. But this was my first time actually seeing him with the pre-show panel. Now, over the years, I have seen bits and pieces of him interviewing the wrestlers, and for the most part, I've actually enjoyed some of the interviews that he's conducted. But I got to tell you, take him out of that element and you put him in this WWE, okay, let's talk about these matches. It's all about the selling. It's all about the hype. It's all about the fun, colorful analysis, broken down to you in a way that makes you want to stick around and check out this pay-per-view event. Or if you're watching it on YouTube, or you're watching this pre-show on Facebook or on WWE's website, and you still have not signed up for the WWE network yet, what are you waiting for? You need to do it, because you got this awesome list of matches that you're going to be seeing, not to mention the bonus content, yada, 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 that you're going to be getting. And tonight, of all the pre-shows I've watched over the past couple of years, this pre-show was the weakest because the energy was so low. The enthusiasm was so low. It was really hard to stay focused. It's really hard to concentrate on this pre-show because everybody's energy was just so low. Sam Roberts was just like, he really came off as if he was trying to find his way through whatever material was provided to him. Now, I'm not going to take a massive crap on Sam Roberts. At the end of the day, Sam Roberts, Renee, Booker, Carmella, they all are receiving their instructions probably via their earpiece on
how they need to say something, or hey, be sure to bring up these points. So they are getting direction to a certain degree, but they can be held accountable at the same time for the way that they are executing those tasks, right? So 50% definitely goes to them, but the other 50% definitely needs to go to the people that are in charge of making sure that everything is on point, the energy, all that, the whole 9 yards. And for me personally, this pre-show, their chemistry just was not clicking. Renee, she is like the glue, quite honestly, when it comes to these pre-shows. But I tell you, somebody else that's really starting to come around, the young brunette girl, I believe her name is Carly. She's really coming around. I like her a lot. Uh, I've only seen her just a small handful of times, but I'm already a big fan of her work, her enthusiasm, her level of energy. You just latch on to it. It's really on point. I like that. So Renee, God bless her. She did the best that she could. Booker is Booker, but Sam, Carmella, they really brought that first half hour down tremendously. Sam Roberts in the hole, G Willikers, good golly, wow! I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't. If I could make a suggestion to the WWE, it's actually something that I have been saying off and on for a couple of years now, since they even began the whole concept of these pre-shows, and then when they were doing the post shows on a regular basis. And it's funny because as I was kicking back watching the pre-show tonight, and I offered a few comments on some of the things that I was seeing play about, it was funny seeing a few people say they basically followed up on what I said, which was, hey, their energy, it's not on point. At which some people were like, well, it'd be really awesome if they went on ahead and maybe they had legends on the pre-show. I've been saying that since day one, since the rumblings were that the pre-show was going to happen, that maybe a post-show was going to happen, and they were trying to figure out who was going to be the panel team. And one of the first names we heard was Renee Young was pretty much going to be leading the way. I have been saying since day one, and longtime RCWR show listeners know this, that I've said since day one, they need to go to guest stars. They need to go to WWE alumni to help them out with these pre-shows. Don't just put any old body there for your pre-show, your post-show. Put some talents that like some people will recognize, that they'll maybe want to stick around for, hear what they have to say, kind of let it be like a nice little draw. Not to mention, you can sprinkle in a few exclusive interviews with some of the winners of that respective pay-per-view. That's how you're supposed to do it. That's what makes the whole Talking Smack segment pretty on point, basically. The after show, the SmackDown after show each week. That's what makes it really on point, is they have that formula, and it's just kind of ass backwards when you think about it sometimes, that WWE doesn't take everything that's been running successfully well with Talking Smack and try to implement that with their after shows, with their respective pre-shows. But it is what it is. I was very relieved when Carmella was finally, I guess James Ellsworth, he supposedly had got some courtside seat tickets or whatever, skybox, that's what it was. He got some skybox ticket seats, and he wanted to go take her. Like, I'm kind of going, so wait, Carmella probably can go anywhere she wants to go see the action. She could probably even have a really good seat over at the gorilla position, but she's going to go up to a skybox. Well, I mean, if you got unlimited alcohol coming to you, you got unlimited food. Yeah, I guess that is kind of cool. You got your own little exclusive bathroom and all that. At least that's how I understand how some of these skyboxes work. I've yet to be at a skybox. I look forward to doing a skybox, but I was just in euphoria when Carmelo was finally pulled from it. It seemed to gotten a little bit better. Didn't really care for the Sam Roberts joke about how the pay-per-view was like so awesome for him to be a part of, that he left his wife who's in labor. Like, I guess he was trying to stress like how cool it was to like be doing this, and it just came off like a bad joke gone wrong. Again, Sam Roberts fans, not taking a massive crap on y'all boy. Again, he can only take but part of the blame, but the ultimate blame is on the people that are giving that direction and not really staying on top of the proper execution. But I mean, other than that, somehow we managed to get through that pre-show all together. I don't know how you guys did, but somehow I managed. I think I managed by catching up on the DVR on some previous Walking Dead episodes to get ready for the new season. Well, they took a mid-season break, but now they're back for February sweeps and all that. So I was kind of getting ready for that. But to the actual pay-per-view card, we go now where our first matchup, by the way, Elimination Chamber, it came to us tonight from the Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. Pretty decent crowd for the most part. We had saw Becky Lynch. She had defeated Mickie James. Pretty good opener. I was quite pleased with this matchup. I was kind of a little bit taken back that everything had began with this matchup. But overall, when I think about the order of the card itself, I actually had no problem with the card overall. It was on point. Now, just feel me for a second. Maybe I'm too old school. Maybe I have that mentality. Maybe I need to really get with the times. But when I'm watching this match, I'm just going over the storyline that has been played out in my mind over the past couple of weeks, right? Now, just walk with me for a quick second here. I think you guys kind of see where I'm going with this one, but walk with me for a little bit. So let me see if I got this straight. So a couple of weeks back, Becky Lynch was involved in a feud with Alexa Bliss, which pretty much had culminated in Alexa Bliss defeating her, taking away her WWE SmackDown Women's title. Becky Lynch like, hey, look, I got another rematch coming, and I'm telling you, when I get it, it's all squared away. I'm going to be a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion. So you're like, okay. So we go through this luchador thing. Turns out that is Mickie James, right? And so Becky Lynch, she's got the whole James Brown song kicking back in her mind. I want revenge, the big payback, right? Okay, so, she's trying to understand why Mickie did what she did. And then at the same time, Mickie, Alexa Bliss, I'm not done with you all by a long shot. We just getting started, right? So she's fury. She's got that rage. She's pissed off. She wants to stick it to Mickie James for butting her nose in her business. Respects everything that she's done to basically lay down the foundation for girls like her, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, etc., etc. Definitely recognizes those that came before her, right? But at the same time, she's got to beat that ass. And how does this match begin? Does anybody remember how this match begins? After they do their respected introductions, this match begins with a goddamn lockup. A lockup. Call me old school, but I mean, I'm just thinking storyline wise, wait a minute, you came this close. This close. Triple H used to say it all the time in interviews over the years when he was a full-time wrestler. If you're not in the WWE to be a champion, what are you here for? You're just wasting your time. Basically, he was saying you should always strive to be the elite in whatever you do. In this case, in the WWE, you got to strive to be that number one. Okay, so Becky Lynch was on top of the mountain. Hey, you! Get off my mountain! Hey, you! I mean, that's basically how it was, right? So we have Becky Lynch so close to being on top of that mountain for a second time. She gets knocked off. And okay, she knows that in order to really have a fair shot against Alexa, she's got to do what she needs to do, get past Mickie first. So it begins with a lockup. That I was just flabbergasted. I mean, it was like a punch to the stomach. I'm going, are you serious? Match itself was good. I just didn't like the way it opened up. I thought that was rather freaking silly, quite honestly. If Mickie James is willing to put on a mask and, she's willing to do all this conniving, sneaky type of crap, why couldn't they have Becky Lynch come out first? And she's, yeah, hey guys, how you doing? And Mickey James just comes and attacks her from behind. Or better yet, you could have had Becky Lynch come out. She could have been in the ring waiting to get her hands on Mickey James. Waits till Mickey James gets in the ring. Could have attacked her, or soon as she sees Mickey James, you could have just had her just, because after all, she is Irish. Not making it be a race thing or anything like that. I'm not being discriminating, but come on. The history of the Irish, they're ass kickers. They're fiery. They got tempers, and that's what always used to be described about Becky Lynch in the previous months. So I am not quite. You know what I'm saying, guys? It's just kind of one of those. I digress. Great match, though. I thoroughly had enjoyed it. Other than that little hiccup, I'm seeing what you guys are saying in the chats here so far, and I'll get to that. Why are you rushing? How did you enjoy the show overall? Freddie, you know better than that, man. You know I don't go I don't blow my load all out at the very beginning. I like to take my time and try to dissect and digest what just happened before my very eyes. So just kick back, keep cool, my baby. Enjoy yourself for a little bit. I know I'm trying to. I got my Heineken right here. So let's talk about how that match had wrapped up by the end too, man. So that matchup between Mickey James, Becky Lynch, the finality of that one. Towards the end of it, we pretty much saw Becky. She was on a little bit of a quick comeback, had connected with a Bex Exploder suplex, only had got a 2 count. Becky missed a spot in the corner, and Mickey was able to connect with a flapjack. Mickey then kicks up. She then tries to go to the top, managed to blow a kiss. I'm not sure if it was actually directed towards Becky or if it was directed towards the referee. Kind of looked as though it was maybe directed towards the referee. And I'm actually glad that, because there was actually a spot in the match that I was a little bit concerned with. Mickey James, at some point, her elbow was bleeding. And you see the referee, he's putting on the black gloves, and you're kind of going, that's just a little scrape boo-boo. She's okay. I mean, she's not going to be bleeding profusely. Like, just let the damn match go. So I was really hoping that the referee was going to get in there, stop the match. Luckily, that did not happen. So that was really freaking badass, because I hate when there's that good momentum going, there's that good chemistry, everything's kind of flowing. And these two girls, their matchup, despite that silly little beginning, they actually had really great chemistry in the ring together. I really thoroughly had enjoyed it. So we saw Mickey James climb up to the top rope, blew a kiss, tried to connect with a seated senton, connected but only got a 2 count. Fans were really loving this. They were eating it up. Took them a minute to kind of really work their way into this, as I have been telling you guys off and on the past couple of weeks, since Becky Lynch has been feuding with Mickey. The verdict has still kind of been out on Mickey James. 7 years she's been away from the WWE. And by the way, I don't know if somebody was feeding lines to JBL tonight, but JBL was really kind of coming off like, if you mess up your lines, my fellow commentators, I'm going to get on your ass. That was kind of like the zone he was in, because, and I'm sure you all that's been watching SmackDown, you've noticed this off and on the past couple of weeks, when describing Mickey James, we hear pretty much all the commentators, with the exception of JBL, as far as I can recall, pretty much say, oh, well, she hasn't been in the WWE for 7 years, so, how much rust does she have? Blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, we're kind of like, oh, so are we like supposed to pretend that her match in Canada at the NXT event against Asuka never happened? We're just supposed to forget about that? We're also supposed to forget that for the past 7+ years, she's been throwing it down. It's okay if you don't want to mention the other wrestling promotion, but she's been throwing it down at another wrestling promotion. I mean, you could basically say, hey, she may have been away from the WWE for 7 years, but she's been wrestling all this time for different promotions. That's actually true to a very good, strong extent. Big bulk of it was with TNA, but she did do a few other appearances here and there. So tonight, it was like two occasions we heard David Otunga, she hasn't been here in 7 years. She's rusty. And you hear JBL, he's like, yeah, but David, that's not exactly true. Yeah, she's been away from the WWE for 7 years, but she's actually been throwing it down. So, it's really not even about ring rust. So I really liked that they did that for the simple fact that, just how WWE kind of like expects for you to know who certain individuals are when they're down in NXT and they happen to pop up on freaking WWE Raw or SmackDown. They expect you to have that level of enthusiasm, like who these people are and everything like that. I just think it was really cool that for once we just threw out the playbook on, okay, let's not insult the fans' intelligence because we keep telling them to go hop on the WWE network. Surely by now people have like typed in Mickey James. They've probably come across her NXT match. They've probably come across the fact that, okay, here's her body of work from the past 7 years. And then if they're that smart to look for her on the WWE network, they're probably smart enough to find out some more stuff about her outside of the network, meaning they're going to hop on social media, do a Bing Google search, and they're going to be able to find out. So I thought that was really cool. Like I said, I don't know if JBL was fed those lines, but sometimes you could kind of get the vibe like when JBL is being fed something, and then when he just realizes, like, dude, that's like silly. What are you talking about? And he's on that ass. So I love the fact that he corrected David Otunga on that point. And look, Otunga, he's improving. Is it leaps and bounds better than like when he first started? If I were to grade him right now, because what, guys, he's pretty much been at it for about what, maybe 3 months? Maybe he's got 4 months under his belt. At this point, I would probably scale of 1 to 10. I still got my man at like, he's at a 6. He's barely at a 6. Barely at a 6. When he first started off, I definitely had him at a 4. He's kind of worked his way up to a 6, but it's really not a strong 6. It's more like a 5. I give you a much firmer number. 5.75. That's where he's at. That's it. That's final. That's where he's at right now. So good matchup otherwise. You're finished to that one. Moving along here. We saw Mickey. She then tried to go for another move, but Becky had countered that successfully with a DDT, applied a disarmor, but that was countered. Becky eventually had countered with a roll-up, pick up the W that way. Clean, 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. Really great chemistry between those two girls, despite the way that match had opened up, as I mentioned before. Let's go on to our next match. This is the one I was very curious how it was going to be playing out. Handicap match. Apollo Crews and Kalisto taking on Dolph Ziggler. True heel-like fashion. We see Apollo Crews. He comes out to the ring, cheesing, smiling. One thing I did agree with Sam Roberts about, very accurate. What is Apollo Crews smiling about? Enough said. Love that. Love that little spot right there. He actually scored a few brownie points with me on that one. But we see Apollo Crews. He makes his way to the ring. He's waiting on his buddy Kalisto. Kalisto's doing his lucha when we see Dolph Ziggler attack him from behind. And you're kind of seeing where this is going. And hey, as far as I'm concerned, Dolph Ziggler is living up to his Twitter handle, Heel Ziggler. Loved it. I love what he was doing right here. So pretty much as a result of him taking out Kalisto had to be helped in the back, as it would from then on out be a one-on-one matchup. And it's pretty good. Nice little back and forth. We eventually did see, what's the guy's name again? Kalisto. We eventually saw him come back out, and he managed to get a nice little hot streak of an offense going against Ziggler. Final moments of the match, we saw Ziggler send Kalisto into a corner. Crews kind of realizing that Kalisto might have been in a little bit of danger, tagged himself in, and connected with a sit down power bomb on Ziggler to pick up the win. After the match is where it really got hilarious. Dolph Ziggler coming off as a poor sport. He actually had grabbed on Callisto's feet, pretty much yanked him as he was standing on the side of the apron, made him pretty much fall on his back, roll to the floor mat surface. We then had saw Ziggler get in the ring, take a steel chair, and he tried to lure Apollo Crews to chase him around the ring. He eventually gets in the ring. Right before Apollo could fully get in there, we see Ziggler bounces off the ropes, pretty much kind of tackles him with like a knee or something like that, knee to the abdominal, then goes to work with the steel chair. And that pretty much was it. And once again, we've got a situation where, like, okay, you've got heel Ziggler here, who is basically coming off as a sore loser, right? But here's the thing. Remember what went down a couple of weeks ago when we saw what played about between Dolph Ziggler and Jerry the King Lawler? That was a really good segment. I think you guys would definitely agree. You couldn't help but say, damn, poor Jerry. You know, you're like, damn, that sucks, right? So next thing you know, you're like, oh man, you see what Ziggler did to Jerry the King Lawler? What an asshole. And I thought for sure something kind of cool was happening right there. And remember, I said it here on the show first, weeks back, before they even pulled that trigger with Ziggler and Jerry Lawler. I said, if WWE is really serious and trying to figure out like how to get Ziggler over as a heel, if that's their agenda, to put him in a situation where ultimately, you know, they have him work with baby faces that are up and coming that they see a really good bright future in, and they basically want him to work a program with them to help elevate them, so to speak, then they got to do everything they can to just really make it be a situation where, to kind of quote one of my favorite Rob Halford songs, I'm the one you love to hate. They got to do Dolph Ziggler basically like that. And I thought they were building something of a foundation with what they did to Ziggler. But then it backfired the minute that they had Dolph Ziggler attack Apollo Crews, and then he's attacking Callisto. The fans are enjoying that. They're like, oh, yeah, thank you, Ziggler. Thank you, Ziggler. So WWE not really taking the cue that maybe we shouldn't go in this direction. Whoever it was, it was just that crowd. We can do this. We can do this. Well, it backfired once again, because after the heinous act that Ziggler had displayed tonight, once again, you got the crowd saying, thank you, Ziggler. Thank you, Ziggler. And it's unanimous. So I don't know about you guys, but like when I hear that, I take that as the consumers basically saying, hey, WWE, we don't really care about Crews. We don't really care about Callisto. The fact that Ziggler did that to those guys, that is freaking fantastic for us, because we're tired of seeing them on our TV. We don't care that much about them. That's a telling tale. So I'm very curious in the weeks to come what exactly WWE is going to be doing with Dolph Ziggler. That is a very interesting dilemma that they got going on with Dolph Ziggler right there, because, you know, on the one hand, you got WWE kind of going, we got to get Ziggler over as a heel now more than ever. Well, hell, what about Jerry Lawler? That's a good platform. Let's start with that. And then it's like, okay, you got the potential. The potential's right here, you know, but then the very next week and then the week after that, you go levels down from that. So they're in a very little interesting dilemma right now. And then I'm also looking at Apollo Crews and Callisto. By Apollo Crews and Callisto picking up the W here, like, okay, how are they really going to be benefiting from this in the weeks to come? Is this really going to be a case where what are one of these guys perhaps going to be facing Dean Ambrose for his Intercontinental title? Is Apollo Crews and Callisto, since they're such good buddies, are they maybe going to form a tag team, and are they maybe going to try to challenge for the tag titles? Like, what's the immediate plan? So I really hope that this wasn't just silly booking and that an actual game plan. I mean, if you ask me straight up, Lee, it is what it is. Apollo Crews, Callisto, they got the W over Ziggler. You know, what would you do with them now? It, se- it seems like they got some type of chemistry together. I'd say let's see what happens with them as a tag team, you know, but some people may feel, we got enough tag teams as it is. I don't know about you all. I've been eyeing a replacement for Breezango for a good minute now. Wannabe Fashion Police. Speaking of Fashion Police, I got to go back to Carmelo one more time. You know, it kind of dawned on me how, like, and I don't know who was the executive producer for that pre show segment that she was involved in, but one thing I want to touch upon, to have her come off as though she was not interested in being part of the panel. She's more interested in her phone and all this other little silly crap. I, it just left me baffled. It was kind of like, damn, well, if she don't care, why should I care? That's just how it kind of, and I don't know if it made some of you all feel like that as well, but it kind of dawned on me a little bit. Like, I wonder if maybe that was WWE's subliminal way of maybe taking shots at that right hand woman that Donald Trump has in his camp, the woman that sat up and was like, buy Ivanka Trump's merchandise. It's good. I'm going to go buy mine right now or whatever. SNL did a hilarious segment with that, by the way. Melissa McCarthy was dressed up as Spicer, and it was kind of like a QVC thing. You got to look it up. It was freaking hilarious. But like, I'm kind of wondering if like maybe they were kind of have Carmella kind of play off of that just a little bit, because I'm not trying to justify the horrific segment that we got with her during that first half hour, but like of all the segments I've seen in recent years, that definitely was a very awkward segment. But it is what it is. I'm glad it's over and done with. Let's see what else we got. So we move on to our next matchup here. Let's see. We have, oh yeah, WWE. They congratulated The Rock on winning the Entertainer of the Year award at the NAACP Image Awards. My girl thought it was kind of interesting that WWE chose to use the words multicultural. And I said, well, why you say that? Well, shouldn't they just have said black? And I kind of go, yeah, that was an option. I said, but to WWE's defense, there's a big difference between multicultural and multiracial. And she's like, well, what exactly is that? Well, I said, well, when you're doing multicultural, you're basically targeting folks of different cultures. And she said, okay, I kind of see that, but shouldn't they just went with black? And I said, yeah, given the fact that it's Black History Month, sure, what the hell, yeah. So either way, I'm just happy that WWE, you know, WWE, anytime The Rock does something good, you know they're going to be mentioning it because that's their boy. That's their poster child. We made that. Look what we were able to do with that guy. I mean, for Christ's sake, his likeliness and all that is in the new WWE Champions game. Has anybody played that game, by the way? I talked about it briefly on the show a couple of weeks ago. That is a very addictive game. I mean, not since like Marvel Puzzle Quest. You guys got to check that game out. It's free to download. If you ask me straight up, if you really need to spend money on that game, you really don't. I mean, it's a pretty good, simplistic tutorial. They start you off with some really good characters that you earn off the break and level up. Y'all are going to find early on that John Cena is like, if you're going to be spending your coins and your cash and all the parts to enhance, John Cena is the one you want to be leveling up early on. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Moving along, let's talk about our next matchup here. So what we got now? We had the tag team turmoil. We had American Alpha taking on Ascension, Usos, Heath Slater, Rhino, Vault Villains, Breezango. It was about 20 minutes of a match. Actually, was a pretty good tag match overall. It kind of I don't know. I guess because you knew that there was going to be a tag team eliminations in there, you're kind of like, okay, so who's really gonna be sticking around for this? Who really, But it was a interesting, eye-opening experience in a standpoint of spring is right around the corner, and you're kind of wondering like who could possibly get some pink slips. So it was actually kind of nice seeing like who the crowd in attendance here in Arizona was really feeling because usually you got a situation like this playing out in front of your very eyes. However, you've been feeling about particular individuals in the ring, usually for the most part, the crowd that's in attendance are kind of feeling like that same way. And despite the fact that Heath Slater, Rhino, they really haven't been on our TVs that much, they got a pretty good pop from the crowd. So still a lot of love and respect for those guys. Still a lot of appreciation for those guys. The Vaudevillains, there's nothing. Breezango, nothing. The Ascension, nothing. The only two tag teams that the crowd gave a damn about. And it just goes back to what I was saying months back. American Alpha, the Usos. I have been saying for months that the Usos should have had the tag titles. I know they got injured and everything, but when it's all said and done, once they kind of like respectfully came back, they should have held on to those tag belts. And then when our boy, I think it was Chad Gable, when he got injured, Uso should have just continued to hold on to those tag titles. Basically, Rhino, Slater should have dropped the titles to the Usos, and then the Usos should have just continued to hold on to those straps until American Alpha popped up. Then you got your feud. American Alpha kind of seeking a little bit of retribution for Usos, pretty much storyline wise, gaining up on them, taking out Chad Gable for those couple of months. But I don't know who the hell was writing that during that show during that time period, but it was just kind of one of those head scratching moments. Like, why didn't they go in that respected direction, man? Seriously, I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, American Alpha, they retained the tag titles. It was, pretty good. Jason Jordan, I got nothing but love for Jason Jordan. I see a really bright singles career in that young man's future whenever WWE decides that it's time to pretty much pull the trigger on that one. Closing moments of that respected matchup. We basically saw the Usos. They got eliminated. They were sore losers. They ended up beating the crap out of the American Alpha, as the last tag team to come out was the Ascension. And you thought like, okay, so the Ascension is going to come in here and they are going to pick up some serious scraps. And we saw Connor. He actually bumped into one of the Usos as they were making their way to the ring. Wasn't even I guess that was quietly kind of like a thanks for the assist, technically. But they enter, they stand over Jordan. They grab Jordan, they double team him. And they actually had connected with the fall of man. But Gable had managed to kick out right before the 3 count. And then we saw Connor launch Gable onto the top rope. Victor tags in. They try to double team on Jordan. Jordan had kicked out from another double team. And the finish pretty much saw Gable avoid an attack on the floor from Connor, enter the ring, hit the double team with Jordan for the pin on Victor. And they pretty much had retained their tag titles that way. Next up, we got to go to Nikki Bella versus Natalya. I tell you what, man, if the reports are true, what's going on respectfully with Nikki Bella, and just to kind of recap for those of you all that maybe haven't quite got up to speed yet on what's been going down, it looks as though with the recent touring that Nikki Bella has been doing, which has pretty much been full time, the neck surgery that she had some months back, well, she's been getting some nagging injuries. You got some reports out there saying that it's possible she may have re-injured her neck. But I think really at this point, I don't think that's the case, because if she did re-injure her neck in any type of way, she wouldn't be wrestling right now. If anything, I strongly believe that it's probably just a little bit of wear and tear, some aches and pains, some sprains, all that good jazz, or all that bad jazz, I should say. And the reports are saying supposedly she's going to take it up to WrestleMania and rest for a little bit, and that WWE is possibly going to work out some type of a new deal with her where maybe she's going to work uh, possibly the four major pay per views out of the year. So, if that's really the case, then it kind of sucks. And I'm going to explain the reason why. I have always been critical of the Bellas. No doubt about that. I will definitely admit that. At the same time, just in general, I've always been the type of person who I don't try to crap on something that I see or individual. I always try to give constructive criticism, point out whatever negative I see, how it can be improved, rather than just criticize and don't even try to really honestly critique and give constructive criticism. That's what I really like to do is critique, give constructive criticism. And the one thing that I noticed about the Bellas, early on, it was kind of like, okay, so they're basically eye candy. All right. And this was before they got with Daniel Bryan and John Cena. They just basically were eye candy. And it seemed like WWE powers that be were more infatuated with capitalizing on the girls' looks rather than, hey, if we do this right, both of these girls would like be some serious forces to reckon with for some years to come if we can get their in-ring skills on point, all that jazz. So for me, early on in the Bella's career, I definitely was very critical because it's like, what are we seeing of these girls? Like these girls, like, what the hell, man? And I tell you what, if there's one thing that has always been consistent, I'll go on a limb and I'll say, I'll give it to both Bellas, is they do try. And I've always been the type of person, if you make the effort to try to learn your craft, you try to get that bad boy down, and I can tell you're actually making the effort. As long as you're trying and you're staying consistent, I can appreciate that. I can genuinely appreciate that. And that's just my outlook in general. But I tell you what, Nikki over the years has just really, really surprised me. And this match that I saw her in, I mean, sister wrestled as if this might have been like the very last match she like ever did. I mean, my girl was busting out submission moves like damn, she knows how to do that. Wow. I mean, I was seeing stuff from her arsenal that like I didn't even think she knew how to do, and she did them without any awkwardness whatsoever. It wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna put your leg here, and then I think I'm gonna do this, and yeah, that should do it, right? No, it was she flowed very well. I was quite taken back by her arsenal. And of course, she had a really good dance partner in Natty. No doubt about it. Natty probably has been probably helping her out over the past several weeks. But I really enjoyed their matchup. Their matchup had ended in a double count out. But Nikki, if she really is feeling the aches and pains right now, I think it kind of sucks because she's really, really starting to scratch her true potential. Now I know some people may say, yeah, but Lee, damn, bro, she's been in the WWE for like what, 7, 8 years, and she's just now fucking starting to turn it around. Like, how you explain that when you got these other girls that like don't know jack about wrestling? They're able to come in, they're doing their thing for like about a year or two, and they excel quite far, quite faster than the rate that Nikki and Bree did. How do you explain that? And I'm not making any excuses whatsoever. I'm giving it to you in the most simplistic way that's humanly possible, that's also legit. You got some people that, quite honestly, it's no different than trying to learn how to play guitar. Everybody has their own speed of learning. Some people, oh, okay, all right. So I put this amount of pressure on the strings. Okay, so I have to play it like this. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I'm starting to understand how to read the notes. Okay, so that does that, and okay, all right. And then you got some people that are able to catch on, and then you have some people that have to learn at a much slower rate. Like it's just not clicking with them. And then you just got some people, they try, but it's just not happening. It's equivalent to uh, being in a classroom with artists, and you got an instructor that comes in, and true story, when I was getting ready to apply to this one college. I did get accepted for the college, but I remember when I had applied to this one college, I'll never forget, because they were really trying to figure out like who truly had talent or who had the potential to like, okay, you know what, they got something, and under our guidance, under our curriculum, they'll excel. So I'll never forget like one of the auditions that they had us do. They put us all in this room together, and we had an art instructor come in, and the art instructor basically said, okay, I want you to do a watercolor. Those of you that can, great. Those of you that cannot, just pick up a pen and pencil, and I want you to draw this pot of flowers, this vase of roses, blah blah, and basket of fruit, and you know we'll give you guys about 2 hours, and we'll come on back and see how you guys did. So it's like if you got it, if you got the gift, you got some type of potential. It's like, okay, everybody's going to go at their own respective pace, but if you're diligent, if you're determined to master that craft, then you're going to keep at it. And in closing, I'll give you this much with regards to Nikki Bella, man. It seems like she had a serious chip on her shoulder when she was injured and she was out all those months. It really kind of came off as if she wanted to come back to prove her a damn good point that she's more than a pretty face, uh, a big rack, and all that. She wanted to prove that she can throw it down with the best of them, and I think what she laid down tonight was really, really on point. I interact from time to time with a few people in the WWE. Just not that big of a list, but there's a couple of people that I've received direct messages from time to time, and I was really impressed with the match, so much so that one of my contacts, I was like, look, if you can get word out to Natty and Nikki that that match was really freaking on point. If there was one match I had to point out to you guys to go check out, I would say go look up that matchup. That's no bull for me to say that. And if you've been watching me for a long time or you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, for me to say that, you got to take that at true face value right there. Because any other time, if it's like sloppy fucking, and the booking for this match, God, by the way, as we get ready to make the segue to talk about how the finish of it had played out, we told you it was a double count out, but actually, we don't even really need to go anymore into the match. I mean, it was a double count out, so we know they're going to lock it up again. But it's like night and day. You look at the finish that we had got for the match earlier between Becky Lynch, Mickie James. Remember how I was talking about how it first opened up with a stupid little lockup? Well, I mean, my God, night and day. You go into this matchup, they do the introductions like we've been so used to these girls kind of jumping each other backstage and all that. You're thinking, okay, one of these girls is going to jump the other person, surely. And it didn't happen during their respected intros. So you're like, okay, well, how's this match maybe going to open up? Hopefully it's not going to open up with a silly ass lockup. And no, on the contrary, how does it open up? You got Natty, who basically is circling around Nikki, and she's going, you can't see me. You can't see me. And that just pisses off Nikki, and she just starts wailing. And that's pretty much how it started. I'm like, now that's how you do it. So great matchup right there. Love that one. Moving on, our next matchup. What we got? We got 3 more matches left. I will get to those in a second. I want to poke my head in the chat and see what you guys are saying. If you got a question related to Elimination Chamber tonight, you can definitely let me know. If you are posting a question, do me a huge solid. And at the end of the question, put in parentheses a capital LS so that I know that's a question I need to try to read live on the air right here. But in the meantime, I'm in the Spreaker chat right now. They also need to go back to the sink or swim mentality with the promos as well. I think that will be a natural way of finding your next marketable superstars. Yeah, I agree with that to a certain extent. Would you say that the heels are more over than the faces with the WWE universe? Well, Vince McMahon and Triple H, they have said it really the best over the years, which is basically, WWE fans nowadays, it's not so much about, okay, I got to root for the good guy. Okay, I got to boo this guy. There's a lot of gray in between. Sometimes, it's good. Negan is a perfect example of that. I mean, my God, it's like very divided almost. You got a lot of people, I'm talking Walking Dead, by the way. You got a lot of people that just hate Negan's guts. You got a lot of people that sincerely, genuinely hate Jeffrey Dean Morgan. They think he is just a freaking scumbag. And he's only playing this comic book character on TV, mind you. But they just think he is like, and then you have some people, a lot of people that are like, this dude is freaking badass. I love this dude. Like, he's so obnoxious. He's so like, what the hell? I mean, that mid-season finale, by the way, that was him at his like ultimate finest, by the way, since he's been portraying Negan so far. Gonna take me a while to get used to the new clean shaven look, by the way, but I'm kind of coming around to it. But I don't know. I think in general we're in somewhat of a day and age right now where it's just really cool to root on the bad guy. But I tell you what, you've got some individuals who come along, like a John Cena. You'll never probably see that guy go heel, quite honestly. So, it is what it is, man. Let's see some other comments we got going on here. Don't ask me about Talking Smack. I don't watch it like that religiously. I've only seen a couple here and there. And again, questions. Like Razor Lee, is it me or was the commentating team off tonight? Way too many people on the team. Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that for like ever since they started introducing the whole format. We've been saying that for months now. So I think at this point, something's gonna go down come spring. Somebody's getting the damn pink slip. Mark my words on that one. Let me see here. And let me tell you guys something, man. I just heard back from somebody in the WWE too that my word got sent to the girls. That's all I gotta say to you guys. My word got sent to the girls. Let's see what else we got. I'm in the YouTube chat now, trying to see if you guys got any questions you want to send my way here. And let me see what we got here. I'm just going through the chats here. Going through the motions of the lotions. Going through the motions of the lotions. Going through the motions of the lotions. Don't ask me what the hell I'm singing. I don't know what the hell I'm singing. You guys are just really commenting. Y'all showing a lot of love to Bray Wyatt so far. I'm looking at what you guys are saying in YouTube right now. And shout out to Cool Bear. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a good minute, Cool Bear. How the hell you been, man? All right, how we doing on Showtime here? Oh, okay, we only got about an hour in. Let's go through these last three matches, and then we'll go ahead and we'll freaking do this, man. All right, so we had our Randy Orton taking on Luke Harper matchup. That was a damn good matchup, by the way. Other than the Nikki Bella, Natalya matchup, I thoroughly had enjoyed Randy Orton, Luke Harper. These guys had some damn good chemistry with one another. Now, I know a lot of you guys are kind of like, wait a minute, Lee, I kind of saw these guys on SmackDown like, what was it? Was it this week or was it maybe last week that we had saw these guys lock it up? And I got to tell you, it was almost kind of like they cranked it up a huge notch. I mean, this was just, and the fans were actually eating this one up. The continuation of Luke Harper getting chance, match had actually got a this is awesome. For the most part, the crowd was, they had their moments. They had their moments where they were really like into certain spots. Really, they started to truly come alive. I honestly would have to say Heath Slater, Rhino, Dolph Ziggler, Nikki Bella, Natalia. They definitely were represented for Randy Orton taking on Luke Harper. Yeah, you almost had like a 20-minute match right there. I love the pace of the match. I love the storytelling that they did with this one. It was enough storytelling in that ring to really have these guys get their point across. I like it. I'm a sucker for that. I love when you got a well-paced match that's on point, that really takes the time to just, it was watching these two guys lock it up. It just had me have like flashes of some AWA matches, and it was actually to the point. It was actually really nice hearing JBL reference Randy Orton's dad many times during this matchup, because like that whole talk that JBL was putting out there, that's like the era that you kind of felt yourself going into if you know a thing or two about that era of wrestling that JBL was talking about, that me and some other guys grew up in. You're kind of like, yeah, oh yeah, JBL, we're already there, man. This was a damn classic matchup. I did not want this match to end. I could have watched these two guys just go an extra 15 minutes or even an hour long. I mean, they was banging it out like that. And yeah, a lot of back and forth, closing moments of the match. We had saw Harper just unload a series of offensive attacks when Orton. He had blocked a discus clothesline, connected with an RKO out of nowhere to pick up the win. I mean, it was a sweet finish, man. SmackDown Women's title, Naomi versus Alexa Bliss. Here's where it gets interesting. So let's see if we can get a final tally before this stream is over here. I want you guys to do me a solid. Hop on Twitter right now. I got a poll that's up with regards to this SmackDown Women's Titles match. And the question that I put out there to you guys respectfully, I want to know if you all felt that Naomi becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion. Yes. No typo. Naomi is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Yeah. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But it looks as though I'm looking at the polling results right now. Here's the question to you guys. And again, you all have at it. Feel free to go cast your vote. I asked you all if you feel that WWE bookers maybe had put the title on Naomi because it's Black History Month, and as it currently had stood up until she was crowned the champion, no black champs were being represented. And I had told you all to cast your vote. So far, we got 6 days left. We got 37 votes coming in right now. And here's where we're at right now. At 10%, there are those of you that felt as though Alexa Bliss had dropped the title a little bit too soon. 19% of you aren't really sure what to make out of what you saw tonight, or not really sure about that question. 30% of you said no. And right now, 41% of you are feeling yes. Yes, WWE did pull the trigger on this move because it's Black History Month. And as a result, there were no black champions. So if you ask me straight up, look, I just put the question out there. I thought it would be a really great question to put out there try to see how you guys are really looking at this, gauge you all, try to get you all's input on this. And it was nice seeing some of you all put some tweets out there directly saying, nah, I doubt it. And just as fast as you get, no, I doubt it, then you get, yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. Nah. Where do I stand with regards to this? I'll be honest. I've been a big fan of Naomi for a lot of years, and there's been many times I have been wanting to see Homegirl with the strap. But if you ask me straight up, uh, if this was the time, if this was the place, I would say no and no. And I got nothing but love for Naomi, nothing but love for Naomi. But Alexa Bliss, man, this girl was just really, really starting to scratch the damn surface, man. I was really feeling her. And, now I'm kind of curious, like, okay, so what's going to happen now? Like, does she get like a rematch at WrestleMania? Is that what's going to be playing? Is that how we're going to be doing this? Or is Becky Lynch maybe going to get into the mix? Is it possible that we're going to see like a fatal four-way for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania, and then like maybe a fatal three-way for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania? Is that like maybe the direction that we're going to be going in? Like, I kind of hope not, because that's kind of cliche. That's kind of like, come on, we can do a little better than that. Why we got to have it be like the same match, basically? So I really hope we're not really going in that direction. But make no mistake about it, I've been a fan of hers for a lot of years. Anybody that's been checking out the show long enough, I've always said, man, let her break away from the Funkadactyls, the Brodus Clay, and all that. Homegirl, she has a really good singles career. She gonna be on point, and she has not disappointed me. There were so many times that it was kind of like, damn, she should have been like a women's champion by now. What the hell is going on? And I tell you, it's really great that we got this draft that's happening right now, because it's because of this draft that we are now seeing opportunities that are being provided that otherwise, without the draft, wouldn't have went down. So I'm happy for Naomi, but in my heart of hearts, I do kind of feel as though Alexa Bliss, damn, she was just really starting to scratch the surface. She was actually generating natural heat. She was getting some type of a reaction from the crowd. I love the spot where the fans are chanting to Naomi, "You deserve it." Yeah. But at the same time, I'm saying that, I'm seeing this, I'm saying to myself, yeah, but respectfully, you guys in Arizona, like, where were you guys a couple of months ago? Where were you guys a couple of years ago, off and on? Like, there really was no, hey, Naomi, oh, it's like, she comes out and it's kind of like, oh, it's Naomi. She's getting ready to have a match. Oh, okay, well, let's see what happens. I don't, it's amazing to me how, like, now all of a sudden, because she wins the belt, and you got, I guess, the fans in attendance, they just really wanted to really let her know that, like, hey, we know you've been in the company for a minute now, and this is like your first time getting the title. Like, if they genuinely felt like it was a long time coming, I get it, but I really hope that the whole "you deserve it" chant wasn't just because they just wanted to feel like they were part of something. Because unfortunately, that's how it is at a lot of these WWE live events nowadays. You got the crowds just chanting what they want to chant because they want to be part of a segment. They, rather than just kick back and enjoy the show. So I would like to believe that a majority of the fans' intent was really sincere in saying to Naomi that she did deserve it. But again, I can't help but kind of go back couple of weeks prior, couple of months prior, even before she went out on injury. Like, where was the buzz for her then? Where were the chants? Where was the momentum? It's not like, oh, Naomi's back and she's got this cool new. No, she's been having that music now for a good minute. Good minute. Even way before she went out on injury, she was pushing that music. So I'm very curious to see how the reaction does for her leading up into WrestleMania. Do I believe this trigger may have been pulled because it's Black History Month and WWE's doing this thing showcasing Black History Month once a week on their WWE programming shows? And for all we know, it's very well possible. It's very well possible that some fans may have been very vocal on social media saying, "Hey, WWE, you celebrating Black History Month, but like you ain't got no champion. You ain't got no black champion for February. What's up with that?" Some people are like that. Some people like that thought never crossed my mind, quite honestly. Because I don't think like that. I'm pretty universal for the most part. So I love everybody. I don't black, white. I don't go that route. So that's how I feel. To each its own. But you want to cast your vote. If you don't like the results I just read to you via Twitter, you can still hop on there and you can go cast your vote right now if you disagree with that. But as it stands right now, we got 39% that feel as though because it's Black History Month, that's why they did that. So if we got 39% of folks feeling that way right now, I'm like, would y'all be surprised? Those of you that voted that way, would you all be surprised if Naomi dropped the strap at WrestleMania? Probably not. Good matchup between those two girls. Otherwise, though, final finish to that respected matchup. We had saw Bliss. She came in with a few cheap shots. Bliss tried to keep Naomi grounded. Did try to go for a high-risk maneuver, but Naomi had kicked her to the floor, and she ran up to the ropes. Bliss had caught her up on the apron, and there was a snap DDT that Bliss had connected successfully on. Only had got a 2 count off of that one, sadly. And Naomi then dropped her, connected with a springboard split-legged moonsault. It was pretty freaking pretty when that move went down. Bliss had came in with a Oklahoma roll. Referee had caught Alexa's feet on the ropes during the pin. And so that didn't go. Bliss then tried to go to the top, but Naomi grabbed her legs. Naomi then hits another moonsault, and she pretty much was able to get the W that way. One more match to talk about. Let me know how you all would, when it's all said and done, rate tonight's WWE Elimination Chamber. Let's put some numbers out there, guys. Overall, what would you think of WWE Elimination Chamber? Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being worst, 10 being awesome. If you can also give me your high point, give me your low points in there while we still got you all here live. So we got the Elimination Chamber match itself. This was actually pretty hilarious because it was at this point I decided, well, the entrances are going to be kind of long. I have enough time to go make myself a sandwich. I can go relieve myself, get a nice refreshing beverage, and come on back, and the match, it should be time. Well, I did all that, and John Cena, God, it felt like maybe I was doing some stuff. I think I even did some laundry now that I think about it. I'm pretty sure I did some laundry as well. And God, I felt as though I was maybe away for about 15 minutes. I come back, and John Cena's just now coming out. I go, damn, what the hell? So that was pretty hilarious. But after all the introductions, I got to say, for this newly designed Elimination Chamber, I enjoyed it. It was on point. It was actually on point. I love the fact that now the cages, it has like a more sleek type of look to it, a more modern type of feel. It's not as, it doesn't look as clunky and barbaric as the previous Elimination Chambers were. I love the fact that, like, when they were redesigning it, I wonder if Triple H had a part in the redesign, like if he was scribbling down on some stuff or whatever, because after all, fun trivia fact, he's the one that came up with it. I don't know how many of you are aware of that, but he is the one that came up with that concept, and he's talked about it a lot over the years. But one of the things that was really cool about the redesign of the elimination chamber structure is that now on top of the steel cage, it's the roof of it. It's been constructed in a way where you can conveniently climb up there without any problem, and whatever high risk maneuver you want to go for, you can do it because it's basically like a kind of like a steel like type of floor surface on top of the pod. So, and that's for all the respective corners. So that was really awesome how they had constructed it. The other thing that I had loved about it is the fact that it almost kind of had a WCW vibe to it. Like when, for those of you that remember how some of their cages were, they were kind of elevated a little bit, like you could make your way to the ramp and basically you didn't have to climb up steps because boom, you were there in the ring and you could pretty much do that on all four corners. So the way that they kind of had this cage kind of set up, there was really only one way you could enter from what I was able to see. But it still kind of came off as though it was elevated, but it was like, you got to see for yourself. But one other thing I can definitely talk about in great detail and accuracy, I love the new camera angles that they showed. The camera angles was really awesome. They put like these really cool cameras inside, and basically you got a really nice, good close up on the inside of the person that was in the pod waiting to come out. So it kind of felt as though like you were actually in there. And I tell you what, if I am 2K Sports and I'm looking to the future of WWE 2K18, I'm paying very close attention to what all they had did in introducing this new elimination chamber tonight, and try to see if a lot of those elements can be put into next year's 2K game. Because I thought what we got presented tonight was really on point. You even had a great pan camera that basically kind of, it almost went like at 125 degree angle, so to speak, where you're able to see the action. That was really on point as well. It was really nice seeing them experiment with those angles, almost to the point like I hope they consider implementing some of those in future installments of WWE, maybe some SmackDown shows, pay-per-views for sure. But it was really nice. It was refreshing to kind of, see how they were doing it. And yeah, that was pretty good. It was really good. So do we need to talk any more about Elimination Chamber? I mean, I guess we could. So things pretty much had began with John Cena, AJ Styles. They locked it up. They pretty much were following up on right what they had did several weeks back at the last pay-per-view. Fans were eating this up big time, eating it up big time. We did see Baron Corbin, if I'm not mistaken, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, he was actually the first one to get eliminated. Miz was the very last person to come out of his pod, and he thought for sure that maybe he and Baron Corbin had some type of a alliance, but Baron wasn't having that whatsoever, man. he just was not having it. Baron's like, there could be only one, every man for himself. Get in here and take your beating like a man. That's pretty much was Corbin's message to the Miz. But Miz, playing footsie, was not trying to come out of that pod. Dean Ambrose, who Baron Corbin was beating down earlier, should have kept his eyes on him, because Baron Corbin actually had ended up getting a roll up, and Baron Corbin was eliminated that way. Baron, being a sore loser, attacked Dean Ambrose, and finally he had left. Then we saw the Miz. He tried to go in, pick up the scraps, try to get a quick pinfall, did not get it. We saw Miz, nice little explosive offense. Eventually, he tried to go for a high risk maneuver. He should have stopped after he had did the awesome forearm in the corner to John Cena. He should have stopped right there, because he actually then had tried to go on the top turnbuckle, look for a flying body cross, and John Cena just caught him, turned it into a double AA, Miz was pretty much eliminated that way. So pretty much at that point, you had John Cena, Bray Wyatt, and I forgot how Dean Ambrose got eliminated. Anybody remember how Dean Ambrose got eliminated? Jog my memory on that one, because right now I'm only thinking about, I'm only thinking about AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, John Cena. And there was a brief alliance between uh, AJ Styles and Bray Wyatt. They ganged up on AJ, but the alliance was very, very short. I mean, it felt like it lasted about maybe 90 freaking seconds. And then after that, that pretty much was it, guys. That alliance, and Bray pretty much was like, okay, you served your purpose, and try to take out AJ, but it did not go down that way. We saw Bray Wyatt connect eventually with the sister Abigail on John Cena. 1, 2, 3. Crowd was in euphoria. Nobody was actually shocked. They loved it. That Arizona crowd ate it up. They were cheering. They were loving it. It ended up being AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt. Also, Miz pinned Dean Ambrose. Thanks for that, Freddie. Yeah, Miz had pinned Dean Ambrose. Well, at least he did something before he got eliminated by John Cena. I didn't even think Miz got a little something. So at least that had went down. Right after Corbin left, he pinned. Okay, that's what went down. Okay, thanks for that, Freddie. Appreciate it. So ended up being AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, and that was a really great back and forth. I mean, WWE's got something golden right there with those two guys, and we need to also have in the back of our minds that AJ Styles is still due a rematch, a straight up one-on-one rematch for that WWE title. And just to refresh you all memory, fresh after the last SmackDown pay-per-view, AJ had inquired to kick off that week's SmackDown what was up with his rematch for the strap. And Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, they both told him respectfully in that segment, it's going to come. You're going to get it eventually. But right now, we got the Elimination Chamber coming up. And we're just thinking about all the best talents that we could possibly have for this chamber. At which AJ's like, well, who all you got in it? Surely I'm in it. And Shane was like, yeah, you're definitely in it. And that made AJ kind of smile a little bit. So kind of have that in the back of your mind. I don't know if that means AJ's going to get a rematch at WrestleMania. Maybe he could put a monkey wrench in there and it's actually AJ versus Bray versus Randy Orton. You know, it could possibly go down like that. But I love the sequence that led up to Bray Wyatt getting the strap. It was a damn good sequence right there. Let's pick it up for you guys, according to my notes right here. Picking it up towards the end of the show. We had saw didn't Bray Wyatt try to do Sister Abigail? Now that I think about it, let me see. How did it play about here? Give me a second here, guys. Oh yes. So basically, we saw a lot of back and forth. AJ tried to do a springboard, try to connect with the 450. Did connect, but Wyatt had kicked out. Styles then drops his elbow pad and he tries to do the springboard again. But that time, Bray Wyatt pretty much like caught him almost midair, did the Sister Abigail, picked up the win, picked up the strap. And the last burning image that you see, and I think a lot of us had called this. I don't think really a lot of us are that surprised that it had went down like this, right? I don't think a lot of us are. We shouldn't be. I mean, I said this was going to play out, and I told you all when it was all said and done, I was fine with this. I said if it's Bray taking on Orton, I'm down. I'm fine with it. If it's AJ Styles, Orton, hey, that's a new matchup. I'm fine with that too. But there's actually a decent amount of you all that honestly felt John Cena was going to retain. And I never did feel that in my heart of hearts. I always felt that it was just a scenario where Cena got the belt because they wanted to give him that Sweet 16 just to have him be in the same breath as Ric Flair, so to speak. So, it was all good. But I don't know. Overall, I gotta say this pay-per-view, it just really felt like Super SmackDown. It just happened to be under a different name, but it just felt like a super deluxe edition, somewhat of SmackDown that we had got. So, seeing how you guys had pretty much rated it, and good God, that win is strong tonight, man. I don't know if you guys hear that. The wind is picking up pretty strong over here. What we got right here? So I see a 9.3 out of 10. I'm looking in YouTube right now. Those of you that's still checking out the stream here on YouTube, and by the way, if you're enjoying the show, man, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're listening on Spreaker, make sure you give it a thumbs up as well. All that good jazz. And I see a 9.3 right now. We also had asked you all, what did you think on Twitter? So I'm gonna pull that up in a second. I'm looking in Spreaker. I see a 7 out of 10. Razor is saying he just liked the Becky versus Mickey, Orton versus Harper, and the Elimination Chamber match. Let's see what else we got here. Going through some more questions here. Freddie, you're asking too many compound questions, man. I'm trying to limit it down to like one really good one. Is Miz Daniel Bryan WrestleMania match inevitable? I'll talk a little bit more about that Tuesday. I mean, I talked about that several weeks back, and I thought I was pretty candid. I'll sleep on it, and I'll talk about it more later this week. By the way, quick programming note. This Tuesday night's RCWR show is going to be replaced by our 4th annual Slow Jamming with Lee special. That'll be coming at you all this Valentine's Day night beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. I believe we will be doing our regular edition of the RCWR show, but I haven't quite ironed out the details, but I think we're going to be coming on Thursday night this week. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook. I'll have the final date and the time hammered out for you guys, but do check out that Slow Jamming special. That's going to be awesome, man. Playing some really nice, good tunes, a lot of good music. You get a little bit of me talking in between, but it's really about the great tunes. Try to help you and your special little someone get ready for the Valentine's Day. Some of you guys may probably have a couple of days off, all that good jazz, which is good. See an 8 out of 10. Bray Wyatt winning the title. That was the moment. And let's go to Twitter right now. I'm looking at some of the results that we got so far on how some of you all had enjoyed the chamber tonight. So here's where we are right now. You got 5 days left to vote for this one. Right now, we got a tie at 6%. Some of you had skipped it due to The Walking Dead and or the Grammys. Understandable. Again, we got a tie. So the other 6% felt that it was a bad pay-per-view. And we asked you to tweet why. That's just an option. You don't have to, but if you want, you can tweet why you thought it was a bad pay-per-view. We got 22% that felt it was an average pay-per-view. And so far, we got 66% that felt it was an awesome pay-per-view. I was about to say average again. No, felt that it was an awesome pay-per-view. So that's pretty good. And other than that, is that it? Yeah, that's all we got right now. We're taking a look at the other poll that we got. The other poll right now about Naomi still holding strong at 39%. If you guys want to chime in on that, go vote on there as well. And we're hopping in YouTube one more time. I see a 8.5 out of 10 for WrestleMania. And shout out to Tron. Glad you liked the video. Other than that, Austie is saying the fact that Bray is holding the WWE title is great to me. I love Orton, but I like to see Wyatt as champ for a while. You, me, both, man. You, me, both. Hopefully, it plays out like that. And other than that, that is it. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to stick a fork in it. We're going to call this DONE done. We did about 90 minutes strong. Got you all's input. Continue to post your input, man. Get it all down there below. For those of you that's maybe going to be checking this out on demand, let me know what you had thought about the pay-per-view overall. If you're new, welcome. Love to have you subscribe. I'm trying to get back into the flow of things here on YouTube, but you don't catch me here on YouTube a lot. I'm mainly doing my thing on Spreaker, so you can go over there and say hello. We do have a new segment that we're doing for you all every single week on YouTube. Every Thursday, I basically will address a good question that I can spend a few minutes talking about, and then we take a live question from the chat, and then I give you a random thought. So if you want to kind of get a taste, we got the first volume of that on YouTube right now, so you can check that out. And yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, we're trying to do it every Thursday on YouTube. Kind of, you know, keeps me connected to you guys and continuing to put some, you know, new content out there. And you know, we also do stuff on Facebook as well. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the RCWR show. Give it a like. You're listening on Spreaker, click the heart, give it a like, all that good jazz. And I'll see you this Tuesday night, Valentine's Day night, for our Slow Jamming with Lee special. YouTube, I want to wish you guys be safe, be kind to one another. I'll catch you guys later this week. Everybody take care. Good night, YouTube.